Hello Bum Club. Hi guys. So today we are going to be doing a chicken bean chili, and we're going to try to do it as quickly as possible because I'm a little hungry. I don't know about you guys, but this mom thing sometimes is kind of tired and hungry. So we are going to make chicken bean chili, and I'm so happy to be here with Bum Club, and hopefully you guys will always go through their website and see all the different events they have and sign up for those events. There's so much going on, and they are so very helpful for all of us moms. And with that said, we're getting into bean chili. So my name is Adita Lang. I'm a holistic lifestyle coach. I've been doing this for a long time. I really love what I do. And I love food, so what can I say? But one of the biggest, most important things is that we want to make sure that we're feeding our family nutritionally dense food. So everything that I do, we're talking about nutritions. Although, even though on some things, hi from California and from Texas, yay, hello. And you're due, well, you're coming up due here in September. That's awesome. Okay, so a lot of times I know that we get super busy and we have to try to kind of make do. And so if you've seen some of my other recipes, sometimes I just make do. These are my recipes, but sometimes I don't get the right ingredients, or I might have to like kind of fudge a little bit, and that's okay. We're just gonna make it. Okay, so we're gonna make some chili, and hello to all my Texas friends. Yes. Now the one thing though with the chili that I'm gonna make today, in the ingredients it does say chili powder, but I'm gonna have to skip that because my kids won't eat it. You know, so I'm gonna have to spice it up and season it up a little bit with some extra stuff just so that we can get away with doing it. So the very first thing that we're gonna do is I've already put the onions and the garlics in my food processor, which I love dearly. I almost cherish this thing. This and my tea maker are my all-time favorite things. But so I'm gonna cut those up because I don't wanna sit there and chop. I'm totally lazy. So what we're gonna do today is we're gonna stick them in the food processor and we're gonna chop them up. It just makes life easy. And I have the oil already heating up so that we can saute them once they are fully chopped. Let's see, did we do it? Nope. We still have a couple of pieces in there, but we're almost there. Okay, with that said, you guys, it's so important to me that you guys ask questions. So I am here to help you. As a holistic lifestyle coach, I deal with everything health, and I want to really make sure that you guys have all the tools that you need to be those proud mamas that you are, and that you feed your kids right. So whatever questions you have, stick them in the chat. I'll keep looking. And I do have some questions that someone sent me earlier, so we're gonna go over those too as well. Okay, let's see here. So, we got onions, people. We've got, this is onions and garlic, all mixed up in one. We gotta make this simple. Okay, so with that said, take out my trusty tool, and we are gonna saute these guys, okay? And you're gonna see how quickly we can make a meal because, guys, I don't know about you, but I don't have time. I don't have time for this kind of stuff. I love to cook though, so I do like to give myself as much time as I need to, but if I can make it quickly, I will. Okay? So we are going to saute these guys here. And as we are sauteing these wonderful things, which of course makes your kitchen smell amazing, I need to take care of the peppers. Now, the peppers, I would usually use like one big green pepper. We didn't have that. We had these little, they're not spicy though, these little sweet peppers. So I'm just gonna cut the top parts off of them, and then I gotta chop these too. And I'm not gonna use my knife to chop them. I'm gonna use my food processor because, like I said, we gotta make this super simple, guys, and that way we can make this quick, right? So with that said, here we go. And hello, California. Look, there's all these fun people here. Hi, everyone. I'm so happy to be here. Okay, so one of the questions that was sent to me is, if my baby is constipated, what foods help? Well, little pureed prunes never hurt anybody, right? That always kind of helps. So, and also a little bit of probiotics kind of mixed up in the milk. That'll help too. You want to get the baby probiotics. There's a company called Jarrow that sells them. So I just put the peppers inside the food processor. You with me? Okay. So here we go. There we go. So those guys are chopped up. I'm going to wait till this just gives a little bit of something. I usually kind of go by smell. The more I start smelling the garlic, the better I know, like, oh, we're almost there. Okay, so we're going to let that saute for just a little bit longer. Now, what I did do, although the recipe calls for raw chicken, I already made the chicken, because here's what I do is a lot of times I will cook large amounts of food that translate into other meals. So the other day, yesterday. I did breaded chicken, but I didn't want to like bread all the chicken, so I breaded half the chicken, and the other half the chicken I just cooked. And then that way I have that other chicken already cooked so that I can make this meal quicker. So I try to really work on getting one thing to translate into the other, and it makes life so much easier. Okay, now we are going to end up adding our chopped, you see them? There we go, our chopped peppers in here. So we're going to add them in here to saute, to gain flavor as we are cooking the onions and the garlic. Okay. So this recipe, I love this recipe. It's easy to make. I usually like making extra, which is what I'm probably going to do today as well. I like to make extra food. So then that way, this is a good recipe that you can freeze. I know some people don't like to freeze their foods. Hi from New Jersey, yay. Okay, so I know some people don't like to freeze your foods, but listen, here's how you have to look at it. At the end of the day, I would much prefer, watch this. I would much prefer that friends come over and you whip out a frozen, these are lentils, a frozen thing of lentils and make those, as opposed to eating junk or going through a drive-through or any of that kind of stuff. So this is not that bad, okay? Some people say, oh, you shouldn't freeze, but again, when you're in comparison to having junk, then no, freeze your food. So I do single serving usually, storage containers. I got a couple of family serving ones, and I blend them up and mix them up in there so that I have it ready to go, okay? Oh my God, so this is really starting to smell very, very good. Now, the other thing I did the other day to make my life really easy is I had already made my tomato sauce, which is basically pureed tomatoes and spices, okay? So I already did this. So I'm going to end up adding this in there as well, but we're gonna add in our beans. Okay, now, we could do raw beans, and a lot of times with my Instant Pot, I will do from raw, regular beans. I didn't have time. So we got Eden's Cannellini beans, and then we also have black beans from Whole Foods. So that's what we're gonna use, okay? And we're gonna put those in there. And I usually get rid of all the liquid. Okay, I don't like all that liquid in there. So I get rid of the liquid, and we're gonna get in other liquids once we're putting in our tomato sauce in there. Okay, so yum. Okay, now we are also gonna put in oregano. All right, and I want the one that pours quite a lot. There we go. There we go. And I'm gonna put in one of my favorite seasonings. I like this stuff. It's not organic, and I'm gonna have to talk to the company because I really would prefer it to be organic, but the flavoring is amazing. So I kind of use this for a lot of stuff. Yeah, I do. It's the one thing that's not organic in this meal, but it is really yummy. And so I throw that in there, okay? So we're gonna throw some of that in there too. Okay, we're gonna mix all of this up here. It smells amazing, it really does. Okay, so now with that said, okay, now we're going to add in our tomato sauce. And again, I made this before. It's pretty quite easy. It's just pureed tomatoes with garlic, of course, garlic and olive oil. If you've been following me for a while, you know that I love garlic. And the thing about garlic is that garlic is an immune booster. It boosts up your immune system. When you're sick, you should be taking lots of garlic. So sticking garlic in your food is actually a good thing. We've got diced tomatoes. I would usually buy the Whole Food brand, which is the one I really like, but this one was at Publix because they didn't have it at Whole Foods, so I had to make do. So right now we have this going on. I'm going to show this to you guys in a minute just so you can see it. It's really yummy. Okay, it smells absolutely amazing. And so with that said, now what we have, the only thing I really don't chop, and I'm going to chop over here, I don't really chop it in the food processor, is the chicken. I don't know why. I guess you could. Hello from Pennsylvania. Okay, but I have this wonderful chicken that I'd marinated and cooked, and I'm going to chop that up into tiny little pieces, and I'm going to throw it into my chili. There we go. So we're going to chop that up here. And so while we're chopping, let's see, what other questions do I have? What is a well-rounded meal for any children? Okay, so here's what I want you to remember, and I've kind of said this before, but it's a good thing to reiterate, is carbohydrates should be coming from fruits, vegetables, and unrefined grains. That's in a perfect world. Yeah. So that means like things like mac and cheese and all that, that's not necessarily what you need. You need fruits, vegetables, unrefined grains, which is going to be like your rice and your quinoa and your oats and that kind of stuff, okay? So that's for immediate energy. And then you've got your good quality proteins. Now, proteins come from, of course, chicken, fish, meat, beans, hemp seeds, chia seeds, walnuts. All the nuts have good quality protein in it. All your greens have good quality protein. And the thing about protein is I call protein cruise control. Like, how long do you want the energy to be in your system? Or how do you want to kind of, I don't want to say sedate the energy, but kind of calm the energy down. You could do it with proteins as well, because proteins take longer to digest. And so they sit in your system longer. And if, in theory, if you have a very rambunctious little one, then my friends, give them more protein. Because they don't need carbohydrates as much, because they've already got a lot of natural energy. And so protein and good quality fat is going to help you, I don't want to say calm them down, but it's not going to instigate all that energy. Okay, so we want to make sure that we're giving them the right kind of food. So with that, you want to think about, if you have a child going to school, then they may have a snack time, and that snack may be we don't know. So for them, their breakfast should be all protein, all fat. Now, if you're making them lunch for school, like, sorry, I have to wash my hands, so I had to walk away. If you're making them lunch for school, again, because you can't really control snack time and all that, then their lunch should be high protein, high fat. Now, if they were at home, different story, because then they can grab a snack, right? They can do all these things. So look, chopped up all that chicken, and now we're going to put that in here. There we go. And we are going to let all of this cook really nicely here. So, there we go. Okay. So while that is cooking, we can talk. We can have a little talk, but I'm going to show you what's going on here, because we're going to walk into, there you go, can you see? Yeah. So that's going to cook for a little while. It's probably going to cook for about 15-20 minutes, okay? And we're done. How's that for a meal? I'm also going to add rice to it. I usually add quinoa, but I forgot to get the quinoa. So I did rice, and I already made the rice, so all I'm going to do is add it in there, but I want to add it towards the end so that all these flavors can kind of sit there and coagulate together. So we want to make sure that that's going to really cook for a little while. So we're going to work on that, but as we're working on that, let's see if I can answer some more questions here. How important is the food pyramid? Okay, so there's two different philosophies when it comes to nutrition. I was raised, brought up, learned more of the holistic approach, where others are learning it from the regular registered dietitian. The registered dietitian works with a food pyramid, and they kind of follow it to the letter. Well, all of us on this today on our Facebook Live, we all metabolize and break down foods completely differently, guys, completely. And I could sit here and say, I've got the perfect diet, and we're all going to follow the diet, and some of you may lose weight, and some of you may gain weight, and others may just feel ill. So we don't want that to happen. And so with our kids, we have to start to figure out how they eat, what they gravitate towards, and then work with their food plan in that direction. And the best way to do that, listen, if you look at my two kids, I have a 9-year-old and a 14-year-old. And my 9-year-old, I will put money down that when she gets older, she will be a vegetarian. And my 14-year-old definitely is a meat eater. I can tell you that now. Okay, so I have another question that just came up here. Let's see here. Is healthy canned food for babies? Okay. To use canned beans, I don't have too much issues with. But to use like everything canned, it kind of depends on it. And you want to make sure that whatever canned items you're using, the can is BPA free, it is organic, okay? And they really don't put a lot of salt in there, which typically a lot of canned foods do put in a lot of salt. I literally, the only cans I buy, guys, literally the only cans I buy typically is beans. I usually do the diced tomatoes myself too a lot of times if I don't get the Whole Foods ones. But I normally, really, my go-to canned, and that's not all the time too, because when I have my time with my Instant Pot, I will make everything in the Instant Pot, and I don't need to worry about cans at all with that. So think of it that way. I mean, cans should be like backup. Like you couldn't get it fresh, then yes, do cans, but don't use cans as your main staple. It doesn't have the nutritional content. I want you guys to remember that everything you're feeding your kids, you're creating their health foundation for, right now, maybe you're looking at a 2-year-old or an infant or a 4-year-old. You're creating their health foundation for when they're 50. And so you want to make sure that you're giving them the right foods to create that foundation, and really fresh is best. So the way that I have everything, and I'm going to end up doing a great post that's going to talk about how I clean out this refrigerator and fix it, because I just moved here to this apartment, by the way, and my refrigerator's disaster, can't find anything. And so I want to teach you guys how to really lay out your refrigerator for success. So I'm going to end up doing something on that. But with that said, fresh. So that means that if you look at my house, for example, the refrigerator is typically empty by Friday, like empty, because that's where I eat all week long, through the refrigerator. Then my freezer is my backup, okay? And then I start again. And so I encourage you guys to do the same. You gotta create systems in your kitchen. It doesn't have to be difficult. It doesn't have to be challenging. It's just about creating systems, just like you would if you were at an office. You'd create systems to make your workload easier. You gotta do the exact same thing in the kitchen, okay? So hopefully that answered your question. Let's see what else we have here. Oh, a mom-to-mom chat. I'm looking for a side hustle. Times are tough in COVID. What do you recommend? Oh, wow. Okay. Well, listen, you know, even with nutritional coaching, guys, I have a course called Nutritional Brilliance, which is about teaching parents how to feed their kids for success. And we hire coaches all the time and train coaches to go out to the schools and teach about healthy eating. So maybe that might be something that you guys would be interested to. I mean, right now there are so many online courses. And actually, if you look in the comments there, or in the description, I put a coupon code for my book, Superpowers of the Family Kitchen, right here, bam, okay, it's in there. You get it for $5. It's a video. It's a digital version of it, but it comes with cooking videos as well. And so in that same portal that you're going to go to get that book, I've got all sorts of online courses, but there are some amazing people out there teaching everything. You can learn anything that you want to learn these days through the internet and YouTube. So kind of take advantage of that. Oh, we have some boiling going on. Okay. There we go. Now this smells, I wish I could throw smell into Facebook, because that would be like incredible. So this is almost ready for me to put the rice in. Almost. Just a few more minutes, and then I'm going to end up putting the rice in there. But it's doing great. Let's see here. So, ingredients. So someone's asking about what kind of ingredients do you look for in food. So I want to share this with you. When you get an ingredient list, let's see if I can find something with an ingredient list on it. Hold on. Let's find you something with an ingredient list on it. Okay. Here, these are sun-dried tomatoes, right? But I want you to, so the ingredient list, I want you to look at the ingredient list, and if you can't pronounce something or don't know what it is, don't eat it, let alone feed it to your family or small children. So most of those things are preservatives, they're fillers, they're all sorts of weird things that we really don't need. And a manufacturer, if something is less than 10% of the ingredients, they don't have to include it in the list. And that kind of goes back to my friend who asked the question about the canned foods. So, you know, the key is if you are making the food, obviously you know exactly what goes in there. Anything that you buy manufactured that comes with a food label on it, you've got to assume that there's some other ingredients in there. And like I said, if it's less than 10%, they don't have to list it on the ingredient list. So there's always going to be some stuff in there. And a really good example that I've probably used on here before, but I'm going to use it again, is apples at the McDonald's drive-thru. So if you go to the McDonald's drive-thru and you order apples, they come in a little sealed bag and they're chopped up, and they have a food label on it. And it says, the ingredients say only apples. Well, all you moms out there, if you were to cut an apple right now and leave it on the table for 5 minutes, what would happen? That apple would turn brown, right? Okay, so these little apples don't turn brown, they're perfectly white. So there's something else in there that is keeping them white. So that's a chemical that is being used, and we really don't want to do that. We want to try to keep, think of it this way, your kids are totally clean slates. So why do we need to gunk them up with chemicals and all sorts of stuff, especially when they're so little? Hello from Minnesota. Wow, we're hitting all the areas of the United States. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We have made chicken and bean chili, and I think I'm going to add the rice to it, okay? And so then what I'm going to end up doing when I'm all said and done is when I serve it, I'm going to serve it with chopped cilantro and avocado on top. Okay, my friends? That is what I'm going to do. So, okay, this looks so yummy. There we go. Okay. So we're going to let that cook for a little while, and then we're just going to keep chatting, okay? So if you have any health and wellness questions for you or for your children, please feel free to stick them in the chat as we're chatting. And I'm trying to answer some questions because some people had actually texted me earlier and asked me questions. So I'm trying to make sure that we get those all done, okay? But here's the thing. Okay, I think I've answered them all, but okay. So when you cook in your kitchen, it's really important to kind of think a little bit ahead. So for example, the bean chili that I'm making, I made a lot, and I did that intentionally because I'm going to freeze a couple of meals so that I have them for later use. How long is it advisable to store food in the fridge? Well, it depends. Okay, so quinoa made plain, that means with water, not an animal, like not animal broth or anything like that. Plain with water, 5 days. Chicken, 3. Maybe 4, but 3. I'd go more for the 3. But so if something is animal protein based, has either like a chicken broth, a bone broth in it, it's an animal based protein, 3 days. If something is done with water or maybe a vegetable base, then you probably have a good 4 or 5 days, just so you know, okay? But think of it this way, anything with fruits and vegetables, right? The longer they stay in the refrigerator, their vitamins and minerals dissipate with oxygen, so they start to become less and less nutritious as opposed to when you first made them. So, you know, keep that in mind too. Okay, any other questions that I have missed here from you guys? No, I think I'm answering everything. Okay, good. So I want you guys to think about, you know, glass storage containers. Don't use plastic. Please don't use those plastic things that that you end up getting from like the fast food restaurant. We don't want to do that. Use glass containers. And you know, I've got these recipes, guys, on my website. I've got tons of recipes. Of course, in my books, I have recipes as well, but that's aditalang.com. And if you go to Instagram, friend me, @AditaLang, follow me. @AditaLang, I'll throw recipes in my Instagram here and there, and also exercise tips and health tips and things to do with your kids and all that kind of stuff, okay? So please be sure to follow me. And also, hello, follow Bump Club, because that's why we're here. We're here because of Bump Club, so make sure that you follow them as well. Okay, so the recipe for today is in the description, and I hope you make it. And do we have any other? I love glass recipes. Glass recipes? I'm not sure about that one. Damaris. Oh, I love that name. That's very cool. So you mean like storing things in glass jars recipes? Or I'm not really sure what you meant about that one. So share, write something else in there for me so that I know what you're talking about, okay? But yes, use glass. I also will get mason jars, and I will use those to store things too. So you can use mason jars as well. I've also used some jars, maybe some food jars that I found in, you know, I don't know, I was cooking something and I saved the jar and I recycled the jar. I will end up using those as well. But I do like glass, no plastic. We don't want to use plastic, okay? Oh, wow, okay, so here's a thought. I want to know how many of you guys are going to be, oh, glass containers. Okay, good, thank you. So how many of you guys, you can put in the comment, are going to try out this recipe? Are you guys going to try to make this recipe at home? Or are you making it now? Because if you are, throw in a picture of it in the comments. Come on, let's do it, okay? And then tag me and tag Bump Club. I'm on Facebook too, so tag me. I'd love to see your interpretation of the recipe. It would be awesome. And just remember, listen, we're moms, and sometimes we don't have all the ingredients. Like today, I changed the quinoa for the rice, and I couldn't use the chili powder because if not, my kids won't eat it. It's all right, because they're going to get all this, right? So we're all good. So if that is all, and if you guys don't have any questions, it was great to see you today. We will be here again, Cooking with Adita, on Monday, next Monday. And I love it. So send me, you guys are more than welcome to, like right now, all of a sudden, if you got these questions that come up, message me. Ask me a question. I'm good. I'll answer it for you as best as I can, okay? Oh, good. She definitely wants to try it. Good. Then send me a picture and tag me on it, okay? Bye, guys. Have a good one.